We got another spearfishing video for you guys, and this time it is another commercial snapper fishing trip. We already went fishing for a while, and now we're doing some spearfishing. That was Captain Matt Budd there in the beginning, dropping down, and here is him pulling up the fish he shot on that dive. A very nice red snapper. Now that I can see he's good to go, he doesn't look like he needs any of my help with it, I'm able to start dropping down and looking for my own fish to shoot. When I'm hunting red snapper, I like to move very, very slowly. We use chum, and we were also just fishing, so the fish are pretty fired up as it is, and they're pretty high off the bottom. We're in about 100 foot of water, but the fish were hanging around 60 foot or so. And as I'm going down, I'm barely kicking, just enough to kind of get my weight going down, and then I'm using the weight on my weight belt to kind of pull me down, and use the weight of my gun to also pull me down. I see some nice fish laying around, and I'm just trying to pick one out that I can get close enough to. And it looked like we had a winner here, so I just went real slow, let him get the chum, and lined up a good shot on him. Had a perfect hit on him, very good holding shot. I was able to start making my way back to the surface, and I could see Matt was all good to go. He's got his fish secure. Now the boat's sitting on anchor, so we don't have the boat coming to pick us up. So we really got to try to get these fish in as fast as possible and start working our way back towards the boat. My fish was pulling pretty hard. I was coming up for my dive, and Matt gave me a little help there, just helping pull them up so the fish didn't get me down in the bottom. That worked out perfect. We got all hot, we were done fishing, and decided we wanted to try to shoot the last couple fish, and we slid in the water, and me and Matt each picked off one nice red snapper. So together, probably about 25 pounds there, and we were going to go get them weighed up, see how many more fish we needed, and then do some more diving.
Is it? Oh yeah, double snap roast.
We decided to change spots, and you can see here I got a ton of life around me. I saw some nice mangroves, but I'm doing a double take back at this shark a million times. You can see me going back and forth before I finally steadied out, lined up on a stud of a mangrove snapper, and hit the kill switch on him. And the bait's everywhere. You can see all the blue runners surrounding me. The sharks are around. Everything's all around. Just a really, really cool dive. And then there's Matt again right there, just kind of watching my back on that dive.
That'll do.
So with the red snapper that we're out there hunting, our limit is 75 pounds. So when I get the opportunity to shoot a mangrove snapper or a mutton snapper, I almost always take that, because the red snapper aren't really that hard to get. There's a ton of them down there, and the mangroves and muttons are a lot more challenging. So that dive, I had an opportunity for a nice double-digit mangrove snapper. I went for that, and then Evan came over in the boat.
Bonus!
So I'm starting another drop down, basically with the exact same scenario as the last dive. We're pretty much on the same spot. We got the bait around, we got the sharks around. I know there's a couple mangroves around. I can see them down there shooting around a little bit. So I start making the drop, and I see the big red snapper right there. I wasn't too worried about him. I know we do need some more red snapper, but he's probably sticking around. I figured I'd go for the mangrove like I mentioned before. And as I drifted down deeper and deeper, I saw the mother lode. You could see it there for a second, but I'm still kind of scanning around to see what else is around. Then I decide, lock in on them. We're going to go pick out one of these big mangroves. And I'm just closing the gap, real slow, closing the gap between me and the mangroves till I can get a good shot on one. And that is what you will see here. Another solid mangrove snapper. The shark looked like it was a little bit interested, but judging from the way they were acting, they weren't super aggressive, so I wasn't really worried about shooting fish that close to a shark. I don't know if it's because there's so much bait around, they just didn't care, but they weren't really giving us any trouble at all. We didn't have to fend off any sharks so far. And I say so far for a reason. We'll get back to that later. But another solid mangrove coming up.
Another mangrove.
With two real good snapper in the boat, I figured why not go for a third. I was in the area where the life was. You see tons of spadefish around. There's a couple mangroves. Had good visibility. It just seemed like a really good spot to drop. So after a breathe up for a while, got myself all calm, lowered the heart rate, got ready to do a drop down. And all the spadefish are there. It just looked so cool being in the middle of all of them. And the fish usually all hang out together. Like there's a big mangrove there. You can see some rocks on the bottom there. Big bull shark down there. Cobia's on him, but they didn't look too big. There's a cobia swimming up right there. This was just kind of a checking it out dive. I didn't see anything I really was going to shoot. A couple mangroves, but again, they were long shots, and I didn't want to take a long shot on a fish. So I just kind of checked it all out and seen what was happening down there. Nothing on that dive, so it was time to head back to the surface, kind of breathe up and get ready for the next one. And that's what we're looking at here, and this was the Heartbreak of heartbreakers. I'm dropping down, I can see the school of mangroves, but I noticed something was different. In that school, I don't know if you guys can make it out, but there are two giant cobia snappers, probably in the 40 or 50 pound range, and I picked out the bigger one. I started following them down. You can see both of them are sitting together. Those fish are huge. I took the shot on them. I'm not sure if I completely missed or if I just poked a scale off them or what, but it was a heartbreaker. Then cobias came up, charged me out of nowhere, turned the camera on. I already shot one, and I was fighting him as he did a death roll with the sharks getting pretty fired up on him at this point. That shark came up to check him out, but that wasn't even the worst one. Here comes the shark that really wanted to see what was going on, and he got a little too close for comfort, especially when I didn't have a gun in my hand. But the cobia was pretty much done, got him in, and we were able to keep on diving. So now we were able to get a nice cobia in the boat, extra fish in the boat, did a different variety, which I like doing, pretty cool. And then I'm here killing them, that way it's a more humane kill and it's safer for us. Here we got Matt swimming down. He took the shot. You can't even see what he shot, but it was a giant king. You can barely make it out. And I chased it and went to go kind of put a second shot in as it was coming up, because you never know with those kingfish. It's pretty easy for the shaft to tear out. And I see this other fish down there, and I thought it was another giant king. Then the cuda attacked it. I almost shot the cuda just because I was all mad at it, but I decided to put a shot in the king. It didn't really mess up the cuda too bad, but it did cut its tail up.
You see that big AP?
So here we have another shot of that again in slow motion, and then right after this kingfish, Matt got that solid red snapper that you saw before, and that finished us for the day.